Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Monday, January 8th, 2018. I wanted to go over just some of the trade ideas I'm watching, some things that look good here near term as we kick off the week here. Starting out with XLU, this is an official trade idea on the site. I believe that was added Friday at the bottom of this falling wedge pattern. So far, decent move, nothing big. Remember, XLU, these are utility stocks. These are defensive issue stocks, your power company, things like that, utility companies that are very stable. So that's why we had a higher than usual position size adjustment. So again, trade, as you like to trade with the position size that you're comfortable with. But on this one, I use a higher position than I might normally take on, say, QQQ or something like that. Either way, we're at the right now we're at the top of that bullish falling wedge pattern, and looking for a breakout and then a move up there. And again, I'm just looking for a hit and run trade at this time, meaning get in, get out, get your profits, and move on to the next one. The charts could certainly develop into something more, but that's that. So there's a stop below 50.86 and our target there, giving us about a little bit better than a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So far, so good. And of course, the case was made on the daily chart as well, because we have a very nice support zone here. These two horizontal lines you can see there capped all these pullbacks here and months of consolidations back here, as well as capped that reaction high right there, reaction high back there. So this level certainly has some technical significance, and again, based on the move down, how oversold we are, I think this one's good for, like I said, at the very least a bounce. And if you're a longer term trader, you're looking for something paying a decent dividend yield. XLU is yielding just over 3%. Sure, you got in at the bottom so far. That we're not out of the woods yet, but you can set a stop below your entry, somewhat below, and let it ride. Even if it's a dead money trade and it does this for the next 6 months, you're getting paid to wait. So again, trade these as you want to. Now, on a related note, I'm looking at some of these utility stocks in the gas industry. So these are subsector utilities. A lot of these are, natural gas companies. And these, a few weeks back, if you recall, when I did a video on the natural gas stocks as well as the MLPs, uh, there were, or I made it clear, there were a handful of utility companies in there that were in the gas industry, and those, while I was bullish on the natural gas stocks, setting up a case for a bottom, I'm still cautiously bullish on a lot of those stocks. Um, but made a case for a correction in these utilities, and that's exactly what happened. This was one that I covered. SR was here, and it broke down below that uptrend line, and very, very strong correction. You can see this is the most impulsive correction that this stock has had in years. This is a 2-year chart. By impulsive, I mean how much it's gone down in such short order. We had a little bit larger correction here. We had a decent correction there, but nothing to this scale. So these stocks are, because of that, very oversold. You can look down here on the RSI. You can see we're well below the 30 level. Last time we were below 30 was back here. We had a series of consecutive readings. The stock was persistently oversold for a while, but that marked a lasting bottom. So again, trade these as you like. I'm looking right now as potential bounce trades here in some of these names, like I'm showing you this one, and we're at support on the daily chart. This was one of the levels that I had on the as a potential downside target, 71.28. And you can see a reaction high back here. There's a little bit of reactions in there, and ultimately this one may want to work its way down there, but I could see certainly in the near term a bounce. And again, daily charts are one thing, but to hone down my entries and exits on a stock, I like to go to the 60-minute chart. And what I'm seeing here, not so much in SR, somewhat, but more so in a lot of these other utilities. I'm only going to cover a handful here. I don't have a very well-defined downtrend line to add, but you can see potential bullish divergence as the PPO is curling up here. It's making about equal lows right now. That's still positive divergence as long as the indicator is making a higher or equal low to the previous reaction low, with prices making lower lows. That's bullish divergence. So we don't have it there on the RSI, but we do have it here on this histogram, the CMA pair. So there's a case for a potential reversal in SR. If it does break that support, it's going down here, and it would be Assuming the 60-minute charts confirm, probably a screaming buy if it gets down there. So there's not a lot of downside in percentage terms. It's trading around 71.30 right now, and I see very good support down here about 68.56. So one scenario I could certainly see playing out, and that's why I'm just viewing these as a bounce trade now. Bounce up to the 73.72 level for a quick trade, maybe another thrust down. Doing so might give us some bullish divergence down here on both the PPO and the RSI. I like to see that. That would be a great entry. And we may or may not get there. Either way, I think the near term um, outlook for these stocks are more bullish. I think they're very oversold. And this also meshes with what I started out with XLU, the utility ETF. If the utility sector as a whole bounces, most likely these gas utilities will also bounce with XLU. So let's look at a couple more. And again, these are unofficial trade ideas right now. May add some of these as an official trade idea, considering that. So here's a support zone on ATO Atmos Energy. You can see an uptrend line there was broken right here, back tested, and then boom, finally the stock finally gave way. This was a minor uptrend line as well. And so now we've fallen down to a support zone. It does appear to be flagging type action in there, so it would project a little bit more, but I don't think that flag is going to play out for much more than maybe a move down to this bottom of the support zone. Comes in around 82.17, and we're right in the upper half of the support zone as well. So you can see the reactions back there. There was a negative divergence on the daily time frame that preceded the drop, but here we go down to the 60-minute chart. Nice bullish falling wedge pattern. Potential divergence, potential meaning we just need to see a bullish crossover here on the PPO, this blue line cross the white line. That will confirm that divergence. And again, you're looking at a potential bounce trade. And, longer term investors looking for utility dividend paying stocks. These guys, they don't have a screaming high yield, but it's not bad in near zero interest rate environment. 2.3% on this one, and if you're just looking for the bounce trade there, what was that? About a three, and that's again just a minimum target there. About a 3.9, almost a 4% bounce. And ATO is what I'm looking for. OGS. This was another one covered in that recent natural gas stocks video where I mentioned break of this trend line. It looked like an imminent correction coming. You could see the negative divergence on the daily time frame, and we certainly got that. So this one's also had one of the most impulsive drops in years. Last time we saw anything like it was back here in October of 2016, and you can see after that marked the end of that correction, and this one had a nice trend up. So whether that happens again or not, hard to say right now. I don't see that in the charts, but I do see at this point an objective long entry. We have support here about 70.53. Stock, came down, almost kissed that level today at the lows. You can see right there, right about at support. And that support's fairly well defined, a reaction off that level there. Some reactions from below, reactions from above, reactions from below. That's what I look for. So you have a stock that is very oversold. First time it's been under the 30 level on the RSI, going back for over a year now. And the last couple times it hit that level, it was good for swing trades, if not more. So there it is, oversold at support with divergences on the 60-minute time frame. It doesn't get much better than that. Again, these aren't screamers. These aren't going to give you triple digit returns, double or triple digit returns, at least not in the near term like a lot of the swing trades that I do. But these are your lower risk, lower return potential, and as such, you can take a little bit larger position size than you might normally in a more volatile, higher beta name like the gold stocks. Try to give you some levels here on the 60-minute chart. You can replicate these. That'd be a first bounce target there. You have some reactions right about there. So this one's good for, I think, about a 3.5% bounce. Next up, NWN, Northwest Natural Gas Company. Again, another one covered in the recent Nat Gas video. We were within this bearish rising wedge pattern. We got the trend line break, broke down with a very impulsive move down. There was your flagging action about halfway, bear flag. We broke down from that. And again, so this might have the appearance of a bear flag, but you usually don't see two bear flags in the same move down. So I think this move, at least in the near term, is complete. This is pretty decent support here. No, it's sloppy. It's been traded through quite a bit, but I also see a lot of reactions off that level, and that's at 57.71, give or take, and that's where we're at. So here's another one, same story. You have a stock that is very oversold. In fact, the most oversold this stock has been in years, and at support. And then again, like I like to see, 60-minute chart, nice strong bullish divergence, positive divergence setting up, and so this one looks good for a bounce, and NWN might come all the way up here. That's probably where I would be targeting, about a little shy of the $64 level. If it gives us that, that's good for a bounce of about 10%. So this one might have a little more meat on the bone than the others. And let me look at the daily chart. Certainly expect some resistance to come into play here about 59.62. So that target I just gave you on the 30-minute or 60-minute, that was my uppermost target. And you just, again, have to keep an eye on the sector as a whole, because birds of a feather flock together. So watch not just the utilities, but these natural gas utility stocks. Next and final one up is SXE, South Cross Energy Partners LP. This one looks like a nice downtrend line here that was recently taken out. You can see the downtrend line was broken, taken out, back testing currently. You can see the PPO is trying to get up above that zero line. That helps define a trend when the PPO, particularly this white line, the 9 EMA, the signal line, is below the zero line. The trend is bearish, as it has been since right here where the crosshairs are. You can see the trend was bullish when it crossed over here, remained bullish till it crossed back down, bearish throughout this point. So this one would actually be setting up as a longer term swing trade, more so than a bounce trade. And again, what we need to see, we want to see a solid move back above here with that 9 EMA on the PPO. You have the bullish divergence in place on the daily, which you don't on most of those other stocks. So this one has its own little thing going on here, and there's some potential targets. It may not look like much. It's a low price stock. Keep that in mind. Also, keep that in mind with your position sizing. Lower the price on a stock, typically the more aggressive, higher risk it is. So this one's about $1.80 right now. If it can bounce up to that first target, you're talking about a 19, almost 20% profit. And if it gets up there, that's about 34%. So this one's looking pretty decent. Let me take a look at the 60-minute chart. We did have a divergent low already, which is starting to play out. You can see the divergence was at this point, at that low. There it is, bullish divergence, and it's been playing out. So another one to keep an eye on for a longer term trade. I don't see a dividend yield on this. You may have to check that. A lot of times these limited partnerships don't show you the dividend yield, at least on these quote systems. So you have to check, do a little due diligence on this one. I can't tell you what the dividend is on this one right now. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. I do have a few other items to cover, but I can either post those on the front page with some charts, static charts, or follow up with another video as soon as possible. This has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart. Hope you enjoyed it.